Yes. Yes. This is a special 1 out of 4 of the special segments that we're going to be doing dedicated to Batman. We love Batman. Nam and I love Batman. We love the lore of Batman. We like the villains. You know, now I don't want to say we're the super top tier fanatics and whatnot. We just enjoy Batman and we enjoy the movies from the Burtons to the Schumachers. And those are the 4 we're going to be focusing on. But we're going to go to the very first one, which is still to this day my favorite Batman movie of all time. Is it the best? No, not at all. It is not the best. But it's still my favorite because not only is my first time watching it, I mean, my first time, like the first movie I ever watched, right? It just, watching it over the past years, it just gets more hilarious to watch. It's just some of the crazy ideas that this movie was trying to do in the vision of Tim Burton and what bringing in Michael Keaton that everybody had no faith on. Jack Nicholson that was like, that is Joker. Kate Basinger that was cast at the last minute because of another actress that couldn't do it anymore. And to a bunch of other people in this movie. I love this movie. Nam, to you, are you a fan of the first one we're going to be talking about? That is the 1989 Tim Burton Batman.
This movie is a classic. It is the quintessential first superhero movie of our childhood. I would say, minus, Darkman and The Shadow and actually, you know what? We don't count those movies. But those movies didn't come until after this movie, so it didn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
But this was our quintessential first real kind of feel for a superhero. And I think Batman was the ultimate person that you could make into this movie. So I remember it vividly because I loved the animated series. And I just like Batman in general because he was a detective and I was all about detectives. Hence, our old or past episode of Dick Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
You can check out in our archives on YouTube, maybe.
Yeah. So what's interesting now revisiting this Batman movie, one, we both watched it in high definition. You watched on Vudu and I watched on HBO Max I vaguely remember this, but I remember when I was watching on VHS or I even have it on regular DVD that it seems that it felt darker, but with the HD now and kind of brushed up, it looks like it's a little bit brighter. I don't know if you got that, but seeing Gotham City really with the brightness of it, it really catches that vibe of like, this is a Gotham City. It doesn't feel like a New York. It doesn't feel like a Chicago. It doesn't feel like LA. It feels like this is a Gotham City. Like it looks awesome. Even when they even go to the first shot of the traffic of people walking around and stuff, it just, you got that vibe going into that. And I thought that the cinematography still hold up very, very well. Now, granted, you can still see some cracks in the concrete, right? From Batman swinging around, you can see the string a little bit clearer now than what you did back in the day and whatnot. But it wasn't distracting or anything like that. But I like the fact that this movie still holds up very well because this movie has very quotable lines. It had a great soundtrack with not only Danny Elfman that even did this awesome beginning that got you like really in the zone for it, but even to Prince that kind of bobbed and weaved within the movie and whatnot. Especially the iconic scenes of, Jack Nicholson's Joker and the museum to the parade and whatnot. And those were really the big shines of Prince's music. And it's funny because now that I look back on it, you realize that this almost feels like more of a Joker movie than a Batman movie, right? Because you really get both of the origin story, but it's really focused on Joker more and Batman kind of taking the back seat of this. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I think in a lot of ways they took the mystery out of the Joker and they put it more towards Bruce Wayne and Batman himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a very quick hit on the backstory about how his family got killed, and they wanted to have that set up and mixed in with Jack Napier and the Joker in this one. So I do see where you're coming from. I know that one character had to have more of a forefront in your face story versus the other one.
Hmm.
But I think that's what kind of made this one unique, though, because I I feel that people who ended up going to watch this movie were fans of Batman in general and didn't have an understanding of what the Joker's past was, because his past is a mystery.
Hmm.
So I think Tim Burton's take on it was that we'll show you guys clips of Batman's past. We'll give him a little bit more mystery and more intrigue throughout this entire movie, but we'll give you everything you really need to know on the Joker and why he is as evil and why he is as scary and maniacal of a character in this particular movie. So
Hmm.
yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from there.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like there is some stuff that did not age well in this movie, especially when it came to the special effects of certain things, especially the weapons, like the guns and the some of the explosions and stuff is very cheesy. You could tell that a little Adam West Batman kind of mingled in there a little bit in there, minus
Mhm.
the whole bam and splat and all that stuff. It was kind of shaped in a different way from the guy shooting the guns. Even the guns when they get up close don't even look like they were guns that could shoot bullets. They were just kind of flashing, just a flash. But it brought a little bit of a fun vibe to it. It felt like that it was a comic book blend in with the more grounded of it. And when you were saying about the Bruce Wayne and Batman kind of be more of a mystery, that was a very interesting idea. And in fact, because even Joker wanted to know who the heck Batman was.
Mhm.
That he was getting outshined by Batman still, even though he's trying to steal the show. So it was a really interesting kind of back and forth. So for people that have not seen the 1989 Batman, you have to go into it taking it for what it was at the time, and it was a late 80s going into the 90s kind of film compared to where we're at now, finishing up the Dark Knight trilogy, followed by the new Batman movie that is coming out for this year.
With Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves.
Yeah. So you have to definitely realize that the production has definitely changed. But going back to find out why this is the movie that that cracked the code of superhero movies can happen, that Tim Burton kind of put a lot of shine into that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the unanswered questions that we normally do in this show and figure out the things that Batman could not solve in this movie that we are going to try to solve for him in that case. So, Nam, you brought up the probably the most important question in this whole movie that I think a lot of people always wonder what happened. Who is Bob?
Yeah, who is this Bob character that we see in this movie? You know, the curious thought is what is exactly his backstory? And I think I have an idea.
Okay.
In fact, it kind of gets a little weird here.
Okay.
Bob is just a hard working, blue collar guy like every single one of us. He goes out there and he does his job. He does his job really well and he gets paid really well.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, at home, he's got a family, a wife, and a little girl that he just goes home and takes care of. They don't even know that he does this stuff on the side. He's just like, honey, I got to go. My boss, this guy's crazy, but I got to do what I got to do to bring the food home. But he has a young little daughter, who is later going to grow up.
I knew you're going there. I knew you were going there. Go ahead.
Who's going to grow up and eventually fall for this boss of Bob's and grow up as this Harley Quinn. It makes sense. Like, you know, she saw all the adoration that her dad had for the Joker. She doesn't find out exactly what happened to the Joker or what happened to her father. She just knows that her father passed away. And she wanted to follow in his footsteps because she was a daddy's girl. A daddy's girl.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Bob is the father of Harley Quinzel.
No, that's a great answer. I 100% agree with that.
So let's talk about that. You were talking about the chemical plant whenever Jack Napier ends up becoming the Joker.
Hmm.
There's a part where in this movie where he falls into a batch of chemicals that end up turning him into the Joker. So two parts to this. A, exactly what were the chemicals and what did it actually do to the Joker to actually become the Joker? And B, was it actually connected to the sewage system that flushed him out into the river? Because I don't know if that necessarily makes sense. Wouldn't there be river water in the chemicals? Would it just dilute? Not happen? Not sure.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because at first, like, apparently it's not filtered. And another weird question is like, is the hole so big that a human can actually slip in there and fall out the other way? You would think he'd be stuck in there, but apparently the
Yeah.
pipe is so big that it can go into the water. That's probably why in this movie you never saw anybody drink water. You never saw anybody. I think they know that Gotham City's worst problems is the sewer system. I mean, sooner or later, Killer Croc's going to come out of there and do some stuff. So I feel like that the reason why they did that, because I think that the police department kind of looked the other way. I think that they were not ready to deal with it yet until it was time, until the mob got their hands on it. And then what's even worse is that how bad is this chemical stuff? Because in that in the shootout of that, there was a lot more spilling around. You would think a lot more people be infected by it, but you don't see anything. So that's what I think.
I gotcha. So I was in there wondering, it's like, is it the fact that he fell into the liquid that turned his skin white and his hair green, like all the hair in his body green and his skin white? Or was it the fact that he drank that stuff when he fell into it and it soaked into him that it like had a chemical changed and all of a sudden it turned him into the Joker where it like just there was some sort of chemical reaction that started to bubble into him, like as if think of it kind of like the Incredible Hulk, right? When the Hulk gets all angry, he starts getting
Mm-hmm.
bigger and green. Is that what happened? Was it like he was drinking like this chemical, then all of a sudden it started just kind of bubble out and like he turned into this white monster with green hair and because it just doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't, because especially the clothes didn't get it discolored either. He was still wearing the clothes.
Yes, that's true.
And the fact that I think that his hair even went bleach, I don't think it's just, or went discolored. I don't think it just automatically green. I think he did that to himself because
Okay.
later on he puts makeup on. So I think he actually makes his hair green just to go with it because it goes well with his tie. Because he was very into ties. He even like nitpicked other people's ties. So I think he just matches with his tie in green and just fits with purple. But I think that I think the longer you're in the chemical stuff, I think it affects your face more. And he was in there for a very long time because I think if it was instant bleach or instant thing, I think a lot of people would have walked out of that chemical plant a little bit more discolored than they are now. I honestly think it's because he was soaked into it, but it doesn't make sense why the clothes didn't get infected, especially when he reaches his hand out and you have this ooey gooey stuff coming out of his hand. Now that could be just blame of sewage, whatever, but at the same time, yeah, I'm going to say that he was in there too long because he was unconscious. So,
So, and I tend to agree. I think it had to be something with the chemical soaking, but it still doesn't make sense in a weird way, right?
uh,
Because how he got to the cosmetics doctor and what exactly did the cosmetics doctor do?
yeah,
Because if his skin is white, his hair is green, did the doctor actually like? Do you feel like the doctor like sewed his hair green and colored his hair green and then like put a smile on his face? Because what exactly was his face before?
do
What
you think?
exactly did a cosmetic doctor do
Yeah, I know where you're
to
coming
him?
from. Do you think it was a peel? You think it was a skin peel? You think his skin was so bad he just kind of peeled it off? you know, and like, you know, well, at least was ever left over, like all the pigment and stuff, because the whiteness of that stuff affected. I That's the only thing I could think of.
Oh, actually, I get it. I know what happened.
Okay.
So you know what? You know when you're in the water for a long period of time and you get all pruny
Yeah.
and your skin starts turning a little bit lighter?
Yeah.
He was just in the water for way too long.
Yeah. That could be it. Kind of like kind of like before. Yeah, he could be in there
Yeah,
way too long.
and whenever they took him to the cosmetic guy, he was just like, "Well, he can look like Prune Face from Dick Tracy, or I can stretch out his face so he doesn't look so pruny. I'm going to pin right there and pin right there, and he's got a smile. He should be all right. He should be all right."
Yeah.
I don't know how he got from the river, floating, dead, just floating in the river like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who found him, but we'll just say that Bob has a very, he gets paid quite a bit. And Bob went into the water, drug him out of the river,
Mm-hmm.
Gotham City River. In the midst of this, he was just like, I don't get paid enough for this crap. And he took him to the underworld's cosmetic surgeon.
Of course, there's always an underworld doctor.
I
Yep.
mean, he took him to the hotel, which is the hotel that all assassins go to.
Mm-hmm.
You see that in John Wick. This is just the older version of it.
Mm.
And the underworld's cosmetic surgeon. So, Bob, you get paid that money. You deserve a raise.
Yes.
So, in order for us to kind of get a gist of how the Joker is a villain and a jokester in himself, he ended up having a meeting with the other mob bosses. And one of the mob bosses was like, "Yo, I ain't down with the clown." And he was like, "Oh, okay." So he was like, "You're out. You're out then. We'll just shake hands." And they ended up shaking hands. And he lit this dude on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But you could say he electrocuted this dude until he got turned into a human torch, more or less. So the buzzard in his hand to kill this guy, what is it? Like, what battery is it running into? Because obviously it's not connected to, like, a car battery or anything that would shock the holy living hell out of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is the Energizer Bunny living inside this mechanism?
I don't think it's a battery. I think it's just the product itself. I think it was a discontinued product from Wayne Enterprise.
Okay.
And they had to do a recall on it because it just was too buzzy that it could actually like burn you up if you hold it on for a little bit too long. And it got discontinued because the person that was working on it did a bit of a malfunction to it. Jack managed to have it when he went to the store to buy some products. We're just playing cards, and he bought the buzzer for a joke later. And he's like, well, let's see how this works out. And so he shook his hand. He's like, oh, well, this is getting more exciting. And he didn't want to let go. And he kept going, and it just burned him up to death. And he played it off. So that's what I think. I think it was a defunct Wayne Enterprise product.
I get what you're saying. I kind of disagree here because I really think that Bob, in his secretive world, went to Arkham Asylum, which we think is an actual asylum, but in reality, it's a wall between Gotham City and Toon World. And he went to go talk to Roger Rabbit. And he asked Roger, he's like, hey, can I borrow that little buzzer thing that you use? And he took it from Toon World, and then he gave it to the Joker. But, it's one thing about it happening in Toon World. You see how cartoons, like, react to it. But when it actually gets brought into the real world, it has deadly consequences, as you see. So
Uh-huh.
I think this entire time, Bob is the one who framed Roger Rabbit.
I don't know how you're pulling that off, but that buzzer should be way more cartoony than it should be. It doesn't look cartoony enough.
But we didn't really see it all that much in Hell No.
I saw it with the little Spyro, Spyro that looks like it's from Saw.
Uh-huh.
that is
Yeah.
that is from there. But
Bob bought a case for it.
a case? Oh, okay. Okay.
It's like a phone case.
I mean,
right?
it would make sense because if you watch the old VHS tape, I mean, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck are in the intro talking about how to buy Batman products and stuff. So they might have done it, right?
Yeah.
So, if you have the tape, I'm not lying. That is a real thing. Look, go watch it. It's like either at the intro and they're doing the commercial. Call the number down below. Don't call the number. It's not real anymore. But they actually showed the shirt of everything. So, and it's Warner Brothers. So, it's funny because even though we talked about Bob and you talked about his girlfriend, we never really established the unanswered question of what happened to his pre-girlfriend, the one that was, he was sneaking around with before he thought he was getting away with it before it became Joker, and he gives her basically a chemical makeup bath in her face. Do you think she did you think she got the same treatment in some sort of way as Joker?
Wait, say that again?
Do you think she got the same treatment as Joker?
As far as
What happened to her face?
chemical bath?
Yes, because the reason I asked you that, because that leads us right into the museum
Okay.
where we see all this happens. So one of the biggest scenes is the people getting gassed in this place as soon as Miss Vicky Vale got tricked to going to there to meet with Bruce, followed by a present that was given to her to put a mask on. And while she put the mask on, this weird green gas comes out of the vents that is very similar to the ones at the chemical plant, right? So after everybody was knocked out besides her, that's when the Joker comes in. You asked me, how are they not knocked out the moment they walked in, right?
Yes.
I said that chemical stuff just stays midair. It only stayed at that second floor. It never went down. Just stayed in the mid floor.
I was gonna say the only problem with that is that they went upstairs to go see Vicky Vale and told her to take off the mask.
It cleared up by the time it remember, it's a big musical number. Like, the song's about 3 minutes long. Like, they had time. That gas could slowly just disappear by the time they get up there.
I was gonna say 3 minutes is not enough for that gas to disappear, but let's just say it's 3 minutes.
It's Prince.
In reality,
When Prince is played, you clear out the way when Prince plays. That gas knew it was Prince time. It cleared away. Party man. Also, too, I think Joker is immune to it.
I kind of had that same thought. The only problem with that, though, is that he wore a mask at the end.
Yes. Yes.
That was the only thing, because that was my initial thought, too. Is like he's immune to it because that was his poison.
Mm-hmm.
But he did wear a mask at the end at the parade, so...
True.
But he was just being cautious, guys. He didn't like the smell, so he just wanted to wear the mask.
Yeah. Now, while he brought in Miss Alicia in, which that's the only time you heard her name. Her name was Alicia, to show her the chemical bath on the right side of her face. Do you think it's the same treatment that Joker got?
It was a practice run.
Now, part 2 of his plan went into the parade, where he is trying to make a name for himself, where he was going to give out $20 million, throw it about the crowd and whatnot, and he was going to have his own floats and everything, because through this whole movie, they were going to do this giant celebration parade for Gotham City. But Joker decided to take it in his own hands to do it. And we're seeing him going across this place, giving money, bumping up Trust by Prince, all this stuff. Meanwhile, Batman's trying to get himself prepared to go fight Joker. So there's a lot of stuff to unravel in this particular scene. So the first one you asked was, why didn't the cops do anything?
Yeah, I was curious about this because he had already intercepted TV. He had killed the two reporters in there by admitting that he's put chemicals in the makeup and the cosmetics that was distributed out to everyone, and that he was going to go after Batman. He intercepted the cast, said he was going to give out 200 million. He's going to tell them that he's going on this parade. The cops knows that he's killed people because there was a couple of models that had passed away as well. They know he's a criminal. But Jeremy, they know the cops know where he's at. The commissioner knows where he's at.
The parade wise, yes.
Knows where he's at.
Yeah, the parade wise, because no one knows where his hideout was. That colorful, crazy hideout.
So why didn't the cops do anything?
Two things. One, they got paid. Some of those cops got paid off.
Okay.
Second, they couldn't. I don't think they were willing to take the risk yet because, there was too many innocent people around. Okay. And it would be a giant shootout. And especially when you're throwing money, people go crazy. So them running around, tackling the cops because money just happened to lay on people, are just go crazy when money's flying around regardless. So them doing anything there would be just not the best idea, to be honest. So
I see. So Gotham doesn't have a SWAT team.
No, so because this movie, they don't have helicopters. No, the police cannot afford helicopters for some reason. Yes, Nom. No SWAT.
They don't have a SWAT team because I would imagine, besides all the Arkham City games that we played, that we get sniped from afar. They couldn't just snipe the Joker and call it
No,
good.
This is 80s. There's no sniping in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Not in Batman 80s.
Not in the Batman universe, probably not. But there was plenty of sniping.
Well, in the Batman 80s, no sniping.
But I'm just saying that, you could have easily stop where the Gotham police start shooting in the air, get everyone to run away and panic. Because, people want to grab money, but if bullets start flying, they're probably going to run away.
Also, too, cops are not really good shooters. So putting a sniper out there would not work because they can't shoot. If you watch this whole movie, cops cannot shoot very well.
But they could also basically block off the parade.
With what?
So that they can't go anywhere.
With what? What could they block it off with?
With all their cars.
Okay.
You're going to go down the road, like you block him in, he's not really going to go forward or back.
Do you really think that's going to stop Joker?
No, but I'm just saying. Or they can shoot the balloons.
Not with all that gas. That's not a good idea. That gas would have just...
The story with the gas thing doesn't really make sense, though. Because if the gas is going out, then the balloons would fly off. I said if the gas was going off on the balloons, right? If the balloons were going this way, if there was gas shooting down, because it has to shoot down to actually hit the people, it would go up and go off. And yeah, there were a handful of guys holding those I guess balloons with a rope, but it wouldn't be enough, I don't think.
All of this can be easily answered if the cops knew how to shoot. They don't know how to shoot. They cannot shoot a balloon off. I'm telling you right now. That's how bad of a shooters they are. They cannot blow up a balloon that's 10 times big. Okay? Which is the question of why Batman didn't shoot the balloons. No, he decided to clip them all. Like, you could have shot them. Actually, to tell you the truth, they would have shot the gas tanks that were that were hooked to the balloon, and that would just blow up everywhere and it make it worse. Cops are terrible in Gotham City. Just saying. I'm just saying. Okay. It's just what it is. Also, too, you don't really want to shoot when you're playing Prince's songs. Okay, it's part of the deal. Okay, when the shootout happened, Prince was done. They shut off Prince, but you cannot shoot when a Prince song comes on. Okay, no violence when Prince is playing. When it's off, gun ho. Back to Danny Elfman music. Okay, Name me a scene where Prince played a song and violence happened. Not even the museum. They were fun. Here, everybody's having a good time. Okay? You party like it's 1999. Okay? You don't do violence during Prince's music. That's just a rule. Okay? All right? All right.
All right.
All right.
So within that scene though, Batman was flying towards the Joker before the Joker pulled out the long gun to shoot him down. But as Batman was flying down towards him, and this actually proves Jeremy's theory here, because if Batman can't shoot, then obviously the cops can't shoot. He even has a target symbol on the Joker, multiple missiles which did nothing apparently, and a machine gun that shot at the Joker. Was Batman truly trying to kill the Joker in this one?
See, that's a tough, right? Because I think that always goes through the whole movie of, does Batman kill people in this movie? And part of it is, yeah, part of it is kinda. And I think it's because one thing is, since this is a Warner Brothers film, all Batman's products are made by Acme. That is from Looney Tunes. That is from Toontown, where Roger Rabbit is. So none of these gadgets works. The guns don't work. The missiles don't work. The bullets don't work. Nothing works because they're all made out of Acme. Now, does he kill people? Well, we call more of a happy accident. Most of these people happen to fall to their dooms on accident, as Jack, before Joker fell into the vat by himself.
Yeah.
The bell tower, where the big guy with the speaker decided to jump behind him and falls through the floor to his death. And did Batman really, clutch his neck with his legs? I think he was just pulling forward. I think the guy just kind of leaped himself out. I think these are more happy accidents. I don't think Batman really killed anybody, really. I mean, so here, I don't think he was really trying to kill Joker. I think it's just, shit happens. So, especially the tower where he links the gargoyle and his leg together and he couldn't hold on. I mean, Joker should have known that, why did he jump in the first place? He knew that was not the best idea. Happy accidents, Nom. Happy accidents.
Okay. In reality, they all fell asleep.
Yeah.
Just a deep sleep. That's all it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Yeah. I don't
Actually, when you said this, I've come to a realization maybe I was wrong about Bob, like this entire time. We think Bob dies, but in reality, he escapes back into Toon World. And stuff happens to him. And he becomes Judge Doom.
Judge Doom. He looks old. Yeah.
When Bob gets older, he becomes Judge Doom. It makes sense. He was already losing the hair.
Yeah. 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 Joker was just trying to do him a favor.
I mean, the outfit and everything is Judge Doom.
Think about it, Nom. No person would pull out the longest gun out of nowhere that is just straight out of his suit without walking awkward. He has to be walking awkward with that kind of a long gun. That gun is pure Toontown product because they had to be bent in there wobbly, and he just pulled out as straight like Looney Tunes. Then he shoots the bat plane perfectly. That doesn't get more Looney Tunes than that. I don't know what does. That is an Acme product gun.
Tim Burton, I need you to do this for me. Cinematic universe. I agree.
Yeah. I think you're on to something. Half of this is Gotham City, half of it is Toon World. It's just Toon World. They have different tunnels. Like in the end of the movie, they broke down that brick wall, and then that was the other way to. There might be different paths. This might be just bob and weave. Toon World's a lot bigger. Just have different ways to go in there. We never spent a lot of time in Toon World to know what other street path could they take us to, and that the one road took us to Gotham City, and that's where it is. It's connected by the sewers.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap it up, I have one last final question for Nom that he does not know. I'm about to surprise him with. Sure. The surprise with, we believe this is Batman's first year out. It's year one for Batman, apparently. So why did you think he designed his suit like that where he can't turn his neck?
So, I think what it was is that he thought to himself, I don't have the budget to actually do this. I'm going to use the budget that I have on scissors that come out of my bat plane to possibly cut things if I need to. I don't know why when I need to cut things, but that's so much cooler. As far as being able to turn my neck, my suit, you know what? Just bulletproof vest. That's all I need. And I'm just gonna fight people. When I fight people, they're just gonna be in front of me because, like, who's gonna go and sneak up to me against me? I mean, they don't do it in any other movie, so I don't need to turn my neck. And just like the Wu-Tang Clan, he watches his neck. He protects his neck.
I think Alfred made it so where Bruce would be uncomfortable and don't want to be Batman anymore.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
That's why he always tells him. That's why he keeps always telling him, like, just tell who you are so you can stop wearing the suit. Just stop being Batman, please. Just stop being Batman, please. Just don't do it anymore. I don't like you being Batman. That's why he always put the suit in the vault, because I make sure he doesn't ever wear it again. It's like, that thing has to be uncomfortable for you, man. Just don't wear it anymore.
I mean, all right. So random thing. Sorry, we'll touch on this real quick and we'll move on. So does this version of Batman to you seem kind of desperate? Like, because we know Bruce Wayne is a playboy that sleeps with plenty of women, does whatever, doesn't really care, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like this version of Batman, he sleeps with her one time and he's like, I love you. I'm Batman. But he has this same thought the next movie, and the next movie. In this universe, this Tim Burton universe, is he just a lovesick puppy dog who's just like, I'm going to tell the secret that I am Batman to whoever I sleep with?
Yes, as long as they say I love you. If they never say I love you, he won't say nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. That and Alfred puts the thoughts in his head.
Yeah.
She said she loves you, man. Just give it up, man. Get up. You're
I
lonely.
feel like there's a connection. I feel like there's this thing that I felt like when we first saw each other. I mean, it wasn't the mansion, it wasn't all the money in the world, but you know, I love you, man. Gold digger. She take the money when I'm in need. She a gold digger.
Yeah, it is kind of creepy, the part where he was driving her all the way to this other part of the city, and right when he took her right to her lair and whatnot, you know, he gave her some information. He says, oh yeah, there's one more thing I need from you. And it just went pitch black with bats, and then she wakes up in the bed, and it's like, so you know where she lives, and what else did you do?
Right.
And she's like, oh, she took the film. I was like, do you think that's the only thing? You never. That's weird. So, anyways, so on our voyage for the four Batmans we're doing, we are going to do a fun little rogue gallery rank of the villains that we come across and where we rank them. So right now, the two entries is Joker and Bob, as probably Joker is number 1, Bob is number 2. As we go further on, we will see who will knock them down. And as we get to the very end of all the movies, we will have our top list of the best villains through the series. Does that work for you, Nam?
Yeah. I think I will go pretty much what he said, Joker number 1, Bob number 2. And honestly, I probably would have I've kind of talked myself into putting Bob number 1 in a way, but he went out like such a Jedi. He went out like such a Jedi, and what I mean by that is like he went out in such a unaspiring way that it's hard to make him number 1. But yes, Joker right now, currently after the first movie, ranked number 1, Bob ranked number 2.
Okay. All right. So it is time to move on to our final part. That is the Rotten Tomato. So of course, back in the day of that time, this was either you liked it or you didn't like it. And during that time, a lot of people liked this movie. But now we're at Rotten Tomato, and, you know, different critics, years pass. So we're going to look at the meter of this one in particularly. So out of 77 reviews, gave this movie a 71%, while 250,000 plus gave this movie 84%. Nom, I'm pretty sure you know what my answer is. I talked about it at the beginning. But what do you sit on this one particularly?
You know, I think this movie is held up really well through the test of time. It is kind of unique watching it in HD. I know I didn't really kind of talk about that in myself, but it was kind of unique watching it in HD because everything was a lot clearer. In fact, I had to take my glasses off every so often to experience like how it was when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Where it didn't look as clear and it didn't look as like comic booky. I guess that would be the word. Which is weird because whenever something is so clear, it's a little bit more comic booky. At least that environment felt like it was. I think the story held up well for a 2-hour movie, 2-hour and 6-minute movie. I think this movie went actually fairly fast. Like Tim Burton's pacing in this movie and how he kind of told the story throughout the movie and then changed up the scenes, I thought went really well. I think the actors did a really good job. I think the characters were well written. Jack Nicholson absolutely did a great job being the Joker, especially this version of the Joker. Michael Keaton to me is still the best Batman there is. I will go 84%.
Okay.
With the audience.
All right. I'm also with the audience, of course, as an 84. Bias or not, this movie to me is a classic and also a guilty pleasure at the same time. I mean, this movie does have some oops and stuff in there, but it's amazing what they've done with it. It was almost like a perfect cast to me when it came to Batman and Joker particularly. And like you said, the pace was really well done. It felt really quick. But out of all the Batman movies, this is the one that I really like it being set, that image of Batman and the world of Gotham City. This felt like Gotham City. And that's what I think they did a really good job. And they took a lot of risks of taking chances on stories that might not pay off for a lot of people. Even the fact that in this story, you're getting both characters that created each other. Joker created Batman and Batman created Joker in that kind of aspect. And when we saw it in HD, yeah, it was a lot clearer for what it was. And I think it's still worth to this day for people to at least watch it once in your life to check it out. So, and as you can see here, the 84% is those people that are still dedicated to the 89 Batman. So I am also an 84. But this is only the first movie out of the 4. When we come back on our next episode, when we return, we will be in the Batman Returns. That will bring us Catwoman and the Penguin and other surprises and whatnot. So with that, please check out all our other great content, and we will see you next time.